Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajigacharya as a Satashishi Mad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajigacharya as a Satashishi Mad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Sekaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Yamuna Devi Ki, Ganga Devi Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Tulsi Devi Ki, Vrindavan Dham Ki, Mayapur Dham Ki, Sankirtan Yagya Ki, Shivaratri Ki, Gaur Premanandi, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namam Vishnu. Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Gena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Today is Shiva Ratri. And what does Shiva Ratri mean? Shivaratri is the day that Shiva and Parvati got married. They got married at nighttime, so it's celebration of their wedding day, and Lord Shiva did a very beautiful, joyful dance on that day. Okay, so there are many, perhaps there's more Shaivite devotees than Krishna devotees. Shiva is worshipped widely. This is a very big day for devotees of Lord Shiva. And so why are we observing it? Because Srila Prabhupada said once we actually don't observe it, and actually that, yeah, we didn't hear much about it in the old days. But Srila Prabhupada does say that, Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. So one thing in the Krishna book, there's the demon of the demon Shankachuta killed. So there it tells how, in that story, the cowherd men, they all wanted to go to Ambikavana to observe the Shivaratri ceremony. Now, they usually didn't go. It says once upon a time they went. They were curious. Like now all over India, there's huge celebrations for observing the Shivaratri. And so when they went there, they were observing it, and it says sometimes the devotees, Vaishnavas, also observe this ceremony because they accept Lord Shiva as the foremost Vaishnava. But it's not observed regularly by the bhaktas or devotees of Krishna. But they all went, and so this Ambikavana, it's in Gujarat. And Prabhupada tells how all the sacred places, they're always situated on nice rivers, the Ganges, Yamuna, Saraswati, Narmada, Godavari, Kaveri. So Ambikavana was situated on the bank of Saraswati, and they began to worship the deity. Now, wherever there's a temple of Shiva, nearby is a temple of Ambika, because she's always with her husband. She's never far away. She doesn't live outside his association. And so they went there, and then they took bath, and first they shaved their heads, and they took bath, and they worshiped the deities. And so Prabhupada is saying, we do worship Shiva, but why do we worship Shiva? We worship Shiva for the blessings that we can become better devotees of Lord Krishna. Now, in one of the major observances of Shivaratri is fasting. It's very important that those who are worshipers of Shiva, they fast and they don't eat any salt at all on this day. So Prabhupada's saying, as long as we worship Shiva as a Vaishnava, that's okay. Not that we worship him as God, because that's what his devotees consider him the supreme. But how can he be the supreme if he's always worshiping, especially he's chanting the name of Ram, and he's always worshiping Krishna, and in this beautiful chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva, just many verses glorifying Krishna and his beauty and his opulence and everything. So he himself is a devotee, and the greatest devotee. And so just in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, many times he's mentioned, it says, Lord Shiva says, I am a servant, and I'm a servant of Lord Krishna, and he desires that, and intoxicated by ecstatic love for Lord Krishna, he becomes overwhelmed and incessantly dances without clothing and sings about Lord Krishna's qualities and pastimes. And so here is, he has many names, Lord Shiva, and many different aspects of his personality. And here in the Adi Leela 679, it talks of Rudra. Rudra, who is an expansion of Sadashiva and who appears in unlimited universes, is also a gunavatar, or a qualitative incarnation. So the quality of the mode of ignorance, actually, he's deputed. Like one name is Shambhu. Shambhu is when there's some important work to be done, influenced by ignorance, then the Lord expands as Shambhu to do that, who is Shiva. So here's one of the expansions of Rudra. So he's a qualitative incarnation and is the ornament of all the demigods in the endless universes. We know Shiva is has his own category. He's not a jiva who can possess 50% of the Lord's transcendental qualities, and neither is he a Vishnu tattva who can possess 91% of Krishna's qualities, but he has his own, like around 80%. He's his own tattva. So very, very unique. And there are 11 expansions of Rudra, and they are Ajay Kapat, Abhiradana, Virupaksha, Raivata, Hara, Borupa, Deva Shrestha, Triyambaka, Savitra, Jayanta, Pinaki, and Aparajita. So besides these expansions, there are 8 forms of Rudra, and I will tell about those in a minute from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Rudra, he says all of these Rudras have 5 faces, 3 eyes, and 10 arms. And sometimes it is found that Rudra is compared to Brahma and considered a living entity. But when Rudra is explained to be a partial expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is compared to Shesha. So he is simultaneously an expansion of Lord Vishnu, and in his capacity for annihilating the creation, one of the living entities. So that's one, like here about destruction, and he is deputed to annihilate, but yet Shiva, he's actually very gentle also and very compassionate. So like here, so we just heard now those 11 names, and then there's still 11 more names of Rudra, because we know that Lord Brahma, he has this incredible service that he has to propagate the universe, because all those souls who are lying dormant in Mahavishnu at the time of the annihilation, they all are waiting now when the recreation occurs. Then Lord Brahma, he's the co-creator in, okay, what kind of body? They all have to get a body now. They're coming out of Mahavishnu. They have to obtain a body. Okay, so we need to populate the universes again. So he tells his sons, that they should get married. Also, his sons, he tells them, first of all, this prayer in the 4th canto, chanting the songs sung by Lord Shiva. This was given by Lord Brahma to those sons. Before you get married, you worship the Lord, you chant these prayers so that your consciousness will be purified and you'll be able to have pure offspring. So that song is actually given by Lord Brahma to his sons. And then Lord Shiva gave those prayers to the Pracheta brothers, because Shiva is so kind and compassionate and always wants to help devotees. And so he wanted to help the Prachetas as they were preparing for Grihastha Ashram for 10,000 years. But if you live 100,000, that's approximately 10 of our years. And he was preparing their consciousness by chanting these wonderful prayers of glorification. That's what they did every day. That was their primary sadhana, these prayers. Each one is a whole meditation. So now, as he's telling his sons, arranging that they should get married, he tells his 4 little sons, the Kumaras, and who are already in the very beginning, they were great sages. They were already so inclined towards spiritual life. And so he told them, I'd like you to get married now and help generate offspring. And so they were like, no, thank you. They were unwilling because they were highly elevated due to their semens flowing upwards, so up to their brain. And Brahma said, my dear sons, please now generate progeny. But they were so attached to Vasudeva, Krishna, and they expressed their unwillingness. They said, we really would not like to. Now, if somebody tells you, although there are many instances, even Lord Shiva himself, he didn't want to get married. And Lord Vishnu told him, you should get married, I guess seeing how passionate he was. But he didn't really want to. He said, why would I want to get all entangled? My whole existence is only for serving you, and that is my greatest happiness, even if I cannot, like after I engage in all my practices, sadhana, then I'm no longer happy. I'm only happy when I'm serving you and singing your glories, chanting your glories. And Vishnu said, no, you should get married. So he did. And that's what Shivaratri is, the celebration of that marriage. Of course, he was married before. He has different expansions of Durga, you can say, which is another story. So now those 4 Kumaras, we can't really generally force somebody if they don't want to get married. Then it's a very good thing, even though we know like Indian parents, they're generally very unhappy that their sons are brahmacharis, right? Like Westerners, we would be very happy if our sons were brahmacharis, but they're like, how can you waste your life? You first of all are so smart. You went to college, you have an education, you're an engineer, you're IT tech. How can you waste your life being a brahmachari? They're not very happy about it. They consider that it's not a very, generally, but then usually those brahmacharis make their parents devotees, right? Almost all. I ask them, is your mother a devotee? First it's the mother, then later the father, usually. But the mother, they always say, my mother's chanting 4 rounds, 16 rounds, whatever. My mother's initiated also. But they make their mothers devotees and then their fathers. So now they refused. No, we don't want to do it. So he got really angry, but he didn't want to express. He wasn't going to yell at his sons and say, you have to, and what a disappointment you are to me. And he just held it in. But we see that anger had to come out. So it came out from between his eyebrows, a little baby boy, mixed color of red and blue, because red represents passion and blue ignorance. And so this is like the face of anger. And so he couldn't do it. Now, as soon as that baby's born, he starts crying. Oh, destiny maker, teacher of the universe, kindly designate my name and place. Then Lord Brahma, he pacified the boy with gentle words, and he told him, don't cry, don't cry. I'll certainly do I'll certainly do as you desire. So your name will be called Rudra, because you have anxiously cried. And and I've selected these following places for your residence. All right, so these places are, first of all, the heart, because the heart is the seat of anger. If we become angry, it arises from the heart. And so that's the first, this is the first place where Rudra can live. And then also, and it says, Kroda, anger is the product of kama, or lust, which is the reason, because lust, it's the unfulfillment of desires, or, somebody is not fulfilling out or acting as we want, just as these four Kumaras. So then, this is the egocentric nature is residing in the heart too, and then it is residing in the senses, because it's common throughout the Bhagavatam. We hear how someone had red, fiery eyes, when they became angry. So one's eyes are like blazing, and we may not exactly see red color, but we see someone really expand their their eyes, and then the hands and the legs. One clenches their fists when they're angry, and especially little children, that they throw themselves on the ground and pound the floor and kick their legs. So that's anger in their senses, like that. And so then another is breath, the air of life, and that's pretty easy to recognize. If we're angry, we start breathing rapidly and breathing deeply, like that. And so that is the air of life. And then in the sky, when we see if there's a storm, when it's overcast, and when there's thunder and lightning, that is the Rudra principle. And when the wind is blowing fiercely, and then the next one is is also the water, the ocean, like when the seawater is infuriated by the wind, it appears in a gloomy feature of Rudra, which is very fearful to the common man. And nowadays there's so many floods everywhere. All over the world there's, floods to the ocean, like totally overflowing and destroying lives and property and everything. So global warming and stuff like that. And then the next one is fire. Fire is pretty easy to see, the Rudra principle, because it devours everything within it. And then also the animals, like the poisonous animals, the snake, tiger, and lion, they're representations of Rudra. And then the sun, obviously, if it's very, very hot, remember maybe about 12 years ago, how in India it got so hot, like 140 degrees, and people were just dying from the heat and dehydration. And cremation costs were way higher, because to have to be at a cremation with that kind of heat. But anyway, and then like even our Srila Prabhupada had a heat stroke, right? Being out in the heat. Then there's the moon, because the moon causes extreme coldness, and then that can cause one to collapse, right? People die of cold, like up there in the Himalayan mountains, so many hikers. There's dead bodies, like lots, I don't know how many, over 100 dead bodies there, because they can't make it. They get exhausted and they just die from the cold. Of course, dying from cold is a rather peaceful death, because everything just shuts down and it's peaceful. And then austerity, as we can see, like Durvasa Muni, he's so austere and such a, fixed up yogi, but he easily gets angry. And also Shringi, when Shomaka Rishi got the dead snake put around his neck by Maharaj Pariksit, then Shringi cursed him, and Shringi was a Brahmin boy, so he also was austere. And so these are principles of the Rudra. And then Lord Brahma said, okay, and here's 11 other names. We just heard 11 names in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Okay, now we're on Canto 3, Chapter 12, Text 12. Lord Brahma said, "My dear boy Rudra, you have 11 other names, so that's 12 names. Manu, Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Ritatvaja, Ugrareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadev, and Drita Vrata. O Rudra, you also have 11 wives called the Rudranis, and they are as follows: D, Driti, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sharpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swadha, and Diksha. My dear boy, you may now accept all the names and places designated for you and your different wives. And since you are now one of the masters of the living entities, you may increase the population on a large scale." And it's quite ironic that these progenitors, many of them have very few children, even less than nowadays. You know, like how many children did Shiva have? Actually, the Rudra, though, he had a lot of children, but not as Shiva. But as Rudra, it said that that there were so many sons and then grandsons, and they were so angry, they just started destroying everything. And it's just the beginning of the creation, and they're destroying. And so Lord Brahma had to ask them to please desist, you know, and to curb their anger like this. And he was so afraid. And then he told Rudra that he said, "There's no need, you don't need to generate living entities of this nature. You know, I asked you to be a progenitor, but never mind. We don't need these kinds of people," because they were devastating everything with the fiery flames from their eyes. And then Brahma's telling Shiva, Rudra, they even came and attacked me. So now what you should do is engage in penance. And then that's auspicious. And then you'll be able to create the universe as it was before. By penance only can one even approach the personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living entity, and at the same time beyond the reach of all the senses. So then Brahma, then Rudra circumambulated Brahma, and then he went into the forest and engaged in penance and austerity, like that. Now, do you know that Lord Chaitanya, he also, here's just one verse from the Chaitanya, this is Chaitanya Charitamrita. So here's what Prabhupada says. Lord Chaitanya, because it's written in several Chaitanya books, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mangala, Chaitanya, by, let's see, Srivastava. But anyway, yes, and Bhakti Ratnakara, there's many different writings about this. And I'll just say, so when Lord Chaitanya, he, because there was a devotee that came there, a devotee of Shiva, and he was just chanting Shiva's name. And so when Lord Chaitanya heard that, he said, "I am Shankara, I am Shankara." And he was showing that that he and Shiva, in one sense, they're non-different, like milk and yogurt, one sense non-different. And then he assumed the form of Lord Shiva, and he started dancing like Lord Shiva, and the Lord's eyes rolled with intoxication. That person who was chanting Shiva, he was, the Lord was effulgent and looked beautiful as his hair stood on end, climbing on the shoulders of that singer. The Lord, the ocean of mercy, danced like Lord Shiva, so up on the shoulders of the Shaivite devotee, and because this devotee was singing. And it was a charming song of skilled composition that he was singing, not just Shiva, Shiva. Now, another another pastime that's very like not really mentioned very much is how Lord Shiva got the name Tripurari, and it's a nice little story and hard to find because if you look it up, trying to find it, it's actually in the chapter entitled Prahlad, the best among exalted devotees. So it comes after that because it begins when Maitreya is telling how Shiva was, his reputation was ruined, and how Lord Krishna helped him. And so, let's see. All right. So what happened was, as usual, right? The demons and the demigods are always fighting, and so as they're fighting, the actually the demigods became victorious. So then the demons, they were being defeated. So they went. We see like they always are taking shelter of a more powerful person, of course. But here they went to take shelter of Maya Danava. He was considered the greatest of the demons. And sometimes others are considered the greatest of the demons, like Hiranyakashipu. But he was the leader, and they went to him for shelter. Please help us. The demigods are defeating us. And he said, okay, all right, here, I'll help you out. And Prabhupada says, by practice of Hatha Yoga, he developed great mystic power. And he was had incredible powers. So he created dwelling places, these residences that were made, three of them, one of gold, one of silver, one of iron, and they contained uncommon paraphernalia, including lots of weapons. And so now, and the special feature of these dwellings, they were invisible. So one couldn't see them. So now the demons were very happy, and they began to, like, from there, the strategic point, they began to vanquish the three worlds, upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. So now, when they started destroying the upper planetary systems, all of those rulers, they went to Lord Shiva, and they fully surrendered unto him, right? Isn't that the case? We fully surrender when we're in danger and really need help. And so they said, oh, dear Lord, we demigods living in the three worlds are about to be vanquished. We are your followers. Kindly save us. And so Shiva, being most powerful, he reassured them, do not be afraid. And he went there and fixed his arrows to his bow and released them toward the three residences. Although they are invisible, still he could perceive them. And plus his arrows, they were like fiery beams emanating from the sun globe. And so the fire also created visibility. But as they were attacked, all the demoniac inhabitants lost their lives and fell down. But Mayadanava, he had this nectarian well, kind of like a lake, really, but it's a well. And we know, you all heard of the Mritu Sanjeevan, we say Sanjeevan Ayatari. It's an Ayurvedic herb that could bring a dead body to life. It's a kind of liquor that invigorates even a person on the verge of death. But then, even though they were dead, as they felt, he just dragged them, put them right into his lake, his well, and they totally rejuvenated. And here you can see them, like, looks like they're saying, Hari Bol, in the ones that, and here's the ones that are dead, and he's dragging them into this well, and the others are really joyful. So now they regained, they came back to life, with not only back to life, but with such vigor and strength. They were as strong as thunderbolts. They were invincible. in a sense. So now, when they all came back to life, Shiva became aggrieved and disappointed because here, after he had killed them, now they're all stronger than ever. And then Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu considered how I can stop this nuisance. And so what happened, he asked Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma became a calf and Lord Vishnu became a cow, and they went and drank all that water. And the demons could see them doing this, that they're drinking the nectar from the well, this nectar of immortality, and yet they didn't stop them because they realized, like Maya Danava, it's funny how the demons know philosophy so well, and he told them, that what has been destined by the Supreme Lord for oneself, for others, or for both oneself and others cannot be undone anywhere or by anyone, whether one be a demigod, a demon, a human being, or anyone else. And so then the Lord, what he did, he came to the rescue of Lord Shiva, and so it gave him a chariot, a charioteer, a flag, horses and elephants, a bow, a shield, and arrows. So then Lord Shiva sat down on his chariot, and so he joined his arrows to his bow, and at noon he set fire. These are fiery arrows, and all three residences were burnt to ashes. And everyone there, all those demons were destroyed. Then seated in the airplane, the heavenly residents, they began to beat many kettle drums. The demigods, saints, pittas, siddhas, and various great personalities showered flowers on the head of Lord Shiva, wishing him all victory. And the apsaras began to chant and dance with great pleasure. Thus, Lord Shiva is known as Tripurari, the annihilator of the three dwellings of the demons, because he burnt these dwellings to ashes. So then he was worshipped by Lord Brahma and the demigods, and then returned to his own abode. So it's a rather obscure pastimes, but there's so many, and we all know Vrikasura story. I think that's the most famous for devotees stories. But even like our great acharyas, Jiva Goswami, he wrote about worshiping Lord Shiva, and in Rupa Goswami, do you know his very famous poems, Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava? We heard how Satyabhama appeared to him after he wrote Vidagdha Madhava, and she told him, you should write a separate drama about Dwarka Leela and the queens of Dwarka. But before that, why he wrote them in the first place is, he said, Lord Shiva, who is crowned, he wrote this in the beginning of the drama, Lord Shiva, who is crowned with the half moon and who is famous as the master of the gopis, appeared to me in a dream and ordered me to write this play. And he said, Lord Shiva said to him in his dream, O Rupa Goswami, please protect the devotees by giving them a little of the nectar river of Lord Mukunda's pastimes. My mercy will give you the power to do this. So in this way, Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the universe, spoke, I will now obey his order. So imagine that Lord Shiva asked him to write that. Now, Lord Shiva is also called the protector of the Dham, and of Vrindavan. He is the protector of the Shiva Linga, and we know that especially unmarried girls worship Shiva and pray that they will have a good husband. And many of our nice Indian devotees here have done that, and you can see all of them have wonderful husbands because they worshiped Lord Shiva. Right, Jadharani, did you worship Lord Shiva? And little Krishna Priya, I mean, look what she got. What a great. Did you worship Lord Shiva or you forgot? Oh, you too, Krishna Priya? No, that's why she got Gopal. Anyway, no. Before, yeah, as right, and then the and even Nimai, right? The girls were worshiping Shiva, and he said, "Why are you worshiping Shiva? Just worship me." Shiva worships me, and they said, "You're so offensive. Get out of here!" And he took their offerings. But here's just in Vrindavan and Mathura, which is considered Vrindavan. And so there is Asheshwara Mahadev, because you see, Asheshwara is aside from, it's Nandeshwara Mahadev, Nandeshwara or Asheshwara, because what happened was Lord Shiva performed great austerities so that he could get a benediction from Lord Krishna. And so after performing great austerities for a very long time, then he asked for the blessing when Krishna appeared, and he said, "I would like to be like just something in Vrindavan so I can witness your pastimes when you come. I know you'll be coming later on, so I would like to be able to witness those. And even if I could be a stone or even a speck of dust." And so Krishna said, "Why? Why do you want that?" He said, "You can actually be a hill. You can be a hill, and then a big hill, and then my father, Nanda Maharaj, he will build his house, his palace on top of your hill." So Nandagan, or Nandagram, we say sometimes, that is the hill of, that's Lord Shiva. It's actually a Shiva. He's there. You don't have to just, just be a speck of dust. You can be the hill, and then being right there, you will see everything, all of my pastimes. And then we have on different sides, there's Nandagan, Bajravan, Barshana, Kedarnath, but that's not the names, is it? That's just where he is. But there's these lingas, and then also, Shiva, when he heard that Krishna had appeared, he went there to see him, and he was waiting such a long time that now I'm going to have darshan of Shiva, and he knocked on the door of Mother Yashoda, and when she opened the door and saw him, he said, "I've just come to see your Lala to get the dust from his feet." And she's like, "No way." And she slammed the door. He will be so frightened if he sees you with snakes and scorpions and spiders and ashes all over your body. You can't see him. I know what you want. You just want rotis. And she went and got some rotis. So here, go away and don't come back, because my son will be too scared if he sees you. So all glories to Lord Shiva. We can pray for devotion to Lord Krishna. Jai. Let's see. Really?
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Danalaya Taksham Marhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Akom Vitamaniya Vishesha Shobha
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Giram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Radhe Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan. Radhe Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Moha. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Moha Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Keshigata Bamshi Bhatta Dwadashakana Dwadashakana Jahasabalila Koilo Shinandananda Koilo Shinandananda Shri Nanda Jashoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Shri Damadi Jaya Jaya Dinuvatsagan Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Kirti Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Birnagari Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavanamaj Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakha Bhatta Dvijarat Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavanamaj Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavanamaj Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakha Bhatu Dvijarat Jaya Krishna Sakha Bhatu Jaya Ramagata Jaya Rohini Nandan Jaya Nandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jan Jaya Dvija Padni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Dvija Padni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Bhakti Tejahara Pailo Govinda Charan Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Saramanoram Jaya Jaya Jwala Rasa Sarvara Parakiya Bhave Jaha Brajate Prachar Shri Janava Pada Padma Koriya Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Koe Nama Sankirtan Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavanamad Jaya Gopishwara Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhatuji Jarat Jaya Krishna Saka Vrindavan Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham Shri Govardhan Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada All glories to Radha Krishna and the divine force of Vrindavan. All glories to the three presiding deities of Vrindavan, Sri Govinda, Gopinath, and Madana Mohan. All glories to Shamakunda, Radhakunda, Govardhan Hill, and the Jamuna River, Kalindi. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavan. All glories to Keshigata, the Vamsivata tree, and the 12 forests of Vraja. At these places the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys headed by Sridham. All glories to the cows and calves of Vraja. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vrishabhanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipani Muni. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Vraja. All glories to Gopishwara Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmin friend, Madhu Mangala. All glories to Ramagat, where Lord Balaram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all of the residents of Vrindavan. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion they obtained the feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyam. All glories to the divine rasa dance, the most beautiful, all Krishna's pastime. All glories to the yellow love, which is the most excellent of all actions, propagated and urged by Sri Krishna.
Shivaratri ki jai. Jai. Chaito Darpanam Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreyakairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pradipanam Pranamrita Swaranam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakriba Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamae Mama Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayatavapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galadashu Daraya Varanam Gadgadaradaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahame Vishnu. Welcome home. Virayatam Nitena Chakshusha Bhavishayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyava Padamatam Rastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatatava Vinatavalam Pato Mat Prananatastu Seva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it increases... Oh, Lord, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting.